Picture the scene. Madagascar, 1835. An open field, thronged with people. But there is no celebration here. The air is heavy, thick with the smell of fear and poison. This is the Tangena ordeal, a mass trial ordered by Queen Ranavalona I. Hundreds of people, accused of a single crime, believing in a foreign god, are forced to ingest a deadly poison extracted from a nut. Then they must swallow 3 pieces of chicken skin. The rule is simple and brutal. If you vomit all 3 pieces of skin, you are innocent. If you cannot, or if the poison simply kills you on the spot, your guilt is proven. Men and women writhe on the ground. Some vomit violently, fighting for their lives. Others succumb to fatal convulsions, their bodies trembling until their last breath. And watching it all, from her throne, with an iron gaze, is the queen. To her, this is not cruelty. It is purification. This macabre ritual killed more than 100,000 people during her reign. A war not against an external enemy, but against her own people. The question that echoes through history is, how did a queen turn into the predator of her own subjects? What led her to believe that the salvation of her kingdom required a sacrifice on such an unimaginable scale? To understand the mind of this monster, we must go back to the beginning. She was not born a queen. Born Ramavo, a commoner, her destiny changed when her father saved the king from a conspiracy. As a reward, she was given in marriage to the heir to the throne, Radama I. Her husband was a modernist. He opened Madagascar's doors to Europe, inviting missionaries, building schools, and allowing Christianity to flourish. But Ranavalona saw something else. She saw a plague, a cultural invasion that was eroding the traditions, silencing the ancestral gods, and preparing her people for the collar of colonization. She was a devotee, a fanatic. In 1828, the king dies without an heir. The throne was supposed to pass to his nephew, but Ranavalona would not allow it. With the support of generals and the traditionalist faction, she staged a coup. Her first order, the execution of all her rivals. The king's nephew, his mother, anyone with a drop of royal blood who could threaten her. It was a bloodbath that announced a new era. In her coronation speech, her promise was clear. Her husband's policies were dead. The ancestral traditions would be law, and no foreign power would ever touch an inch of her land. She was not just a tyrant. She was a guardian, and to protect her kingdom, she was willing to plunge it into the deepest darkness. Ranavalona's 33-year reign was a descent into hell. The first target, Christianity. In 1835, the faith was declared illegal. To be a Christian was to be a traitor. Missionaries were expelled, schools were closed, and the hunt began. The Tangena ordeal became routine, but it was just one of the tools in her arsenal of terror. Victims were thrown from cliffs, boiled alive in cauldrons, sawn in half, burned at the stake, or buried alive. Cruelty was not an access, it was state policy. She used forced labor to build her empire, killing tens of thousands through starvation and exhaustion. And when the Europeans dared to challenge her, she crushed them. In an act of supreme defiance, she cut off the heads of defeated French and British soldiers and impaled them on stakes on the beach, a message to the world. But the Queen's paranoia grew. The Tangena poison was now used for everything: witchcraft, treason, a simple rumor. No one was safe. In her mission to strengthen Madagascar, She was bleeding it dry from the inside, drop by drop. But every reign of terror has its apex, its most depraved spectacle. For Ranavalona, it was at the rock of Manarina. Enraged by the Christians who still practiced their faith in secret, she ordered the Great Purge of 1849. Thousands were arrested, but the punishment for the nobles would be a public spectacle. A crowd was forced to watch. Atop a steep cliff, the Christian nobles were given one last chance: renounce your Christ or face the abyss. One by one, they refused. The punishment was a theater of horror. Some were burned alive at the base of the cliff. Witnesses say their hymns could be heard above the crackling of the flames until silence finally consumed them. Others were bound and hung by ropes over the edge of the precipice, an executioner at their side, knife in hand, awaiting the Queen's signal. After the final refusal, the signal was given, the ropes were cut, and the terrified crowd watched as the bodies plummeted to their deaths, shattering on the rocks below. This was not just murder. It was a message written in blood. The price of disobedience was absolute. On that day, Ranavalona was not killing people. She was killing hope. After 33 years of blood, poison, and terror, how does a tyrant like this die? In battle? Betrayed? No. Ranavalona I died peacefully in her sleep in 1861. Her funeral was a violently fitting end. A barrel of gunpowder accidentally exploded, killing several in attendance. Her son reversed all of her policies, but the chaos had already been sown. Decades later, France finally conquered Madagascar. So, what is her legacy? To the West, she is the cruel queen, the female Caligula, a monster whose brutality brought her people to the brink of annihilation, reducing the population by half. But for some Malagasy nationalists, the story is different. They see her as a heroine, a fierce patriot who understood the true threat of European imperialism and used the only weapons she had to keep her people free, delaying colonization for decades. Sadistic tyrant or ruthless defender? Perhaps she was both. The chilling story of a queen willing to destroy her people to save her nation, leaving behind a question that haunts us to this day. How far would you go to protect everything you know? The line between a savior and a despot is a fine one. And the story of Ranavalona I offers no easy answers, only questions that haunt us. This channel is the home for stories like these, the chapters official history would rather forget. To make sure you never miss one, subscribe and ring the bell. Your like is the fuel that allows us to drag more truths like this into the light. Now, the judgment is yours. Leave your verdict in the comments. Was Ranavalona a brutal patriot who did what was necessary to save her nation? Or a monstrous tyrant consumed by her own power? Did the ends justify the means? We can't wait to read what you think.